Hey guys, sorry I am delayed on my vlogs. I just had something come up, so I'm back. Again, these vlogs are never a guarantee anyway, but I always try to make it up. So today I'm gonna post 2 vlogs. I'm trying to post daily at least for a year. It's just kind of something I decided to do this year just to challenge myself. So anyway, yeah. So I'm going to talk about 4 books that I've recently read. I just finished this one yesterday. So I guess I'll start with that one first. It's a 400-page book, Ziggler's Secrets of Closing the Sale. At first, I didn't really want to read this book because I was like, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm sure that's an interesting subject. But it's not only about that. It's not literally about just about selling houses. Actually, it's far from that. It's just about being a salesperson in general. Most of everyone nowadays is a salesman. Even if you're in the dating world, you are a salesman or saleswoman, whether you realize it or not. Like 90% of us are salesmen. Like I advertise my website all the time. I advertise my services, so I'm always looking for information on that subject. So this was a great book to guide me. It's a 36 chapter one, so I like to read a chapter a day, so it took me over a month to finish this book in its entirety, and it really went in depth, and that's why I wanted to absorb the information and take my time to access all that I could. But basically, it's just all about how you can get people to buy what you are selling. I mean, it's that simple. It goes in depth about your strategies, your personality, how you come across. It's very insightful, and I would definitely recommend it. Like this is actually like the book that will, like the Bible that will, and it actually says #1 Bible of persuasion, like how to get people to buy what you're selling. I mean, it's that simple. Like I keep repeating myself, but that's basically what it keeps revolving back to. And chapter after chapter, it just continuously links back to how to sell. Like at the end of the day, if you don't have written set in stone examples, which this book goes into massive detail about, of how to do that, then you're never going to really understand the concept of, okay, like for me, it was a bit challenging because it went into detail about selling other services and stuff. And like I had to like link it back to me, right? Like if you sell a car, okay, how is that going to be related to me reading this? So that's what kind of pushed me away from educating myself with this type of information for so long, is because I thought, okay, like this is just about selling like different stuff. Like I don't know, like I'm gonna be honest, even the cover turned me off because like this is an obnoxious red color. I personally don't think I would have went with that format. But anyway, it's a great read nonetheless. Sometimes I find myself rereading passages because it's so much information at once, and that's the type of perfect stuff for you. And I'm all about collecting information constantly. So the next book is The Greatest Salesman in the World. And this one just goes into detail. It's a very short read about different scrolls and their basic principles that you should live by. And I swear this was deeply spiritual. I thoroughly enjoyed this read. I'm kind of just flipping through as a reminder, but yeah, like basically it goes into how you should live, the type of life you should lead. And it's like the perfect life, like what you should do to live basically the perfect peaceful life, and how to guide others to live the same. So the scrolls were passed on. They were in secret and kept a secret and stashed away, and they were passed on to one person he chose after his entire life. And before his life was over, he had to pass it on to someone that he intuitively felt that he had to pass these scrolls on to this information, this knowledge. So this was the kind of like storytelling book. So, but at the same time, it's like guiding you with information about the scroll. So it was a bit hard for me to follow at first and get that concept. I was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm reading. But you kind of understand like what it's revolved around. There are basic principles that this book abides by. So it's a really great read and a quick read, and it's a repeater. So it's one of those books that you just have with you and you just annotate and mark down and underline and highlight and sticky note and whatever the heck you want to do and reread it, because these are like literally the perfect formula to live your life, okay? And I believe you should annotate any book. I don't personally, because like I said, I read like chapter by chapter, so that's just kind of how I choose to do it. The next book is The Leadership Train by Orrin Woodward, and this was a great read. It's mostly like jibber jabber about like I guess a made-up scenario, if I remember correctly, about like an experience that he had with someone that he met at random, is like a long time ago old friend or person that went to school with him, and he met him in a grocery store, and like now he sees he's super famous and rich and successful, has like a $50,000 wristwatch and all sorts of bougie stuff, and nice big house and big kitchen, whatever. So he went over to his house and got invited basically to like figure out how to build this kind of like life and formula. And his business was basically around like others work for you. And it sounds like a pyramid scheme, but it's not really that. Like it's different. So, but basically you can kind of come up with like, ideas for your own business to make up an idea of like, okay, how can I utilize people to my advantage, right? Like in a way for business. I don't necessarily agree with this model or formula because it doesn't give anyone like the advantage. Like you're always going to kind of be like clawing a ladder that's falling. Like the one at the top is always the one who will gain ahead of you at the end of the day. They say that you can get there, but like I just personally, like with those things at all, anything even close to pyramid, I just stray away from. Like I know how they work. But I like the concept at least that they went into, and I appreciate the qualities of the leader that entice you to succeed. So that's why I read that book specifically. And while I'm on my journey of reading as much as possible for the rest of my life, I don't plan to just do this for 1 year. I would like to acquire as much knowledge as possible. So this was just one of many great reads, but it did go quite a lot into like conversation back and forth just to make it interesting. I would have maybe preferred if it had a bit more information about how he got there in the first place, or people are quick to talk, but like how much did you start with, stuff like that. And I'm sure it went into that, but like I wish it went more in depth, like with the details, even if it was a fictional kind of tale, more into details about like what motivated them to start this life to begin with, more into like why did they even bother leaving that work they were once at into going into what they're doing today. Like I'm more interested in that stuff, but it does briefly cover those subjects. So if you're interested in that, like how someone starts and how they get big and whatever, that's your cup of tea. The finance world does fascinate me in general. I just like to learn about it and how things work in this life, because in our world, at least, everything sort of tends to revolve around money, unfortunately. Like your freedoms and your life, like if you don't have much, then it's like you can't do much, right? So you can't help much people either. So, I'm all about like helping people, and, it's one thing to like obsess over it, and I don't agree anyone should obsess over it. Sometimes I feel really sad for people who are just like nonstop, like investing and on the computer, like that's all they think about. And they don't have much time to like actually live their life. But, there's a healthy balance with everything. And I think it kind of like goes into that as well, talking about like how much time you should spend for your building your sales, and then other times with your family, friends, whatever, so it also goes into detail about that. So it's kind of a one in all book, which most of them are. They're all talking about like balance and stuff like that. So I would go check it out though. It's a great read. Okay, so the next one and the last one I'm gonna talk about today is George Clayton's The Richest Man in Babylon. And again, I don't know why I was so like turned off from this. I was like, Babylon, I didn't even know what that is at the time. I guess I was too young and immature to really grasp the concept, but I'm glad I picked this up because it goes into basic principles of how to be rich by the time you're like bajillion years old, right? And who is the richest man in Babylon? Like, oh, in Babylon, this like huge empire of a city that was constructed 8,000 years ago and is in ruins today, how they functioned, why they were one of the most sustained, wealthiest cities on planet Earth at the time, and how they managed to be like above society so quickly and work together so functionally and be a well-oiled machine. And you can make your own Babylon in your world today. You can construct your own Babylonia basically by following these principles, and like saving 10% of your income, for example, is one of those ways. Like back then they had like shekels or pieces of gold or whatever in their pouch, gold coins. So basically the povertus would question the plump old man how he attained his wealth, even though he's nothing more significant than the others. And so he goes into detail about how, and persistence and consistency, and time and determination and focus. And basically, if you just have a goal in mind, overall, you're going to get there no matter what. So I follow and abide these principles. I've even followed and abide them before I even read this book, because I'm sure I got like information from some other people somewhere that has read this book or something like that. And everything is all connected like a network. So, you're never really going to get your information from one source. So that's why I do highly recommend people continue to read. It doesn't stop at school. You build a great life for yourself just by picking up a book, really. I mean, it's not that hard. Over time, it's sometimes difficult for people to just sit there 30 minutes a day and challenge themselves to just move their eyeballs left and right. I know you can get distracted. You have to reread the pages sometimes 20 times to really, but it's totally worth it. And just a chapter a day, like I said, is all it takes. And these are like the scrolls. This is like the same ancient type of knowledge and wisdom information that you have to abide by. Like, at least if you're not going to read books, read these two books. Like I would say, this is like your Bible. Like this is even going in depth, talking about Jesus and the Bible and stuff like that, which I've been lately fascinated by and into. I like collecting knowledge and learning different things. Right now I'm listening to podcasts about buying gold and silver while you still can, and just overall subjects like this are interesting to me, so that's why I picked these 4 books to talk about today and maybe recommend. And I'm not sponsored by any of these authors or anything like that. It's just my own personal reads of a many collection of books I'm working on reading. So if you like this kind of like book review, maybe I can do more. But yeah, I just want to fill in a video real quick. I'm about to go film another one with Easter eggs. It's actually our Orthodox Christian Easter today, since I'm Macedonian. So I actually celebrate Easter today. So I spent some time with my brother today. And yeah, so that's kind of why I've been like eating the Peeps, the Easter Bunny, and I guess the sweets lately. It's just sort of like a take it easy time for me, and just relaxed a lot today and this weekend in general, and really trying to transition over to more of a rested state, perhaps, and just continuing to live the best way we can, I guess, with our, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just very relaxed. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much. I hope I clarified myself as well. That's all. See you guys. Bye-bye.